let's work a bit on the engine file instead. I'll mark all of this and delete it so we can start over. Always start with the namespace. I'll tab twice and enter. And then we need a class. Tab twice. And this one is engine. And enter. Okay. Now, XNA provides a lot of finished code in a base class that we want to derive from. So we're gonna add that colon, and then we're gonna find that class that we want to inherit from. The name of it is game, and it is inside another namespace, not our own namespace. It's inside Microsoft's namespace, and they have a namespace inside another namespace called XNA framework. And then you can see that I'll show you. Namespaces are always signified by two brackets like that. And inside the framework, we have a lot of things. And we want the one called game. As you can see, it is a class, and classes are signified by a little organization chart. So we want to use game as our base class. I'll show you the difference. Let's say that we don't have this, and then I go to program. Now if I type game and hit a period, I have just four methods there. These are methods, you can tell, because they have the little pink box there. That means that it's a method. But we only have four. They're predefined by C#. However, if we go to engine and we inherit from game, then when we go back here and I hit period, you can see that we get a lot of things here. One of them was that run method that we used earlier, which starts the game. So inheritance is a smooth way of adding a lot of code that you don't need to type yourself. One more thing I can mention is that if you have a namespace inside another namespace, like Microsoft has 3 layers here, then they are called nested namespaces. Okay. As you know since before, there is another way to add finished code, and that is to pack up a class into an object, instantiate a class, instantiate an object. And we will do that. So we will first provide the data type. Microsoft, they have inside the framework a manager called Graphics Device Manager. This one handles the configuration and management of the graphics device. You can't see that, it's outside the screen. What is a device? A device is a programmer term for hardware. So this one handles this class handles the hardware for us, so we don't need to do that, and that's a good thing because it can be really messy. That's a good thing. We need to label this one as well, this variable, so let's just call it graphics, and then we're happy with that. Now we're gonna add the constructor too. Remember that over in program we need to call a method that has the same name as the class name. So we need to make that. There is a code snippet for that. So I'll write CT, there you have it, constructor, and I'll tab twice. And then we get the engine constructor in place right away. This is the first method called. So this one, when we instantiate the engine into an object. So this one should instantiate objects as well. And we need to instantiate a graphics device manager and put it inside our variable. And we need to start by storing it in our graphics variable. And this variable is not inside the engine method, the constructor method. So we need to access it from outside this method. And we can do that with a this keyword, because we're going to use the graphics variable, the graphics variable that is in this class. It's not in this method, it's in this class. This was the this instance of the class. That's what the word this means. And we want to assign to this variable. So we use the assignment operator. And since it is code, we need the keyword new. And IntelliSense is nice enough to suggest to us the graphics device manager. So I'll click tab to get that. But we need the braces as the parentheses as well. And the graphics device manager constructor, this is the constructor of that class. It wants to know what game the graphics device manager should be associated with. And it needs to be of the type, data type game, which is inside the XNA framework. And that is exactly what we have up here. So our entire class is what the graphics device manager wants to know. Right? Well, why do we need to tell it the name of the or what game we want to associate with? Well, that is because our game should get exclusive access to the graphics hardware, so we can print, we can draw things on the screen very, very fast. And again, we can use the this keyword to represent the instance of this class. So we are happy with that, and I'll finish up with a semicolon. For now, we're happy with the engine constructor like that. However, the base class, the game class, has a method already implemented to draw things to the screen. So we're going to use that one because we have access to it since we're inheriting from the game class. So I'll start typing protected, because the game class must have made it protected, otherwise we wouldn't be able to access it in this derived class. I'll click space and then I'll do override, because we want to add some code in there. And then it will suggest what methods that we can override, and in there you do have a draw method, so I will click enter. Now IntelliSense is not stupid, so it put a lot of code in there for us. I'll briefly explain it. It added void because it's not going to return anything. Inside the XNA framework, there is a class called GameTime, and this one we will store in a variable called GameTime as well. The GameTime class basically keeps track of time. In this case, it keeps track of the amount of time since the last time we called the draw. This is good for calculating how far it should move objects, for example. And then it added a line of code here. It will call the draw method on the base class, pass in the parameter game time, because that's what the draw method wants in the base class. And in the base class, it will set everything up and work with the graphics hardware for us, so we don't need to worry about that. However, we want to do something as well. So we're gonna work a bit with polymorphism. We're gonna add some code here on top of what the base class is doing. There is inside our graphics object, this instance of the engine has a graphics object, and that one has a class which takes care of the hardware, and that one is called graphics device. And the graphics device, which takes care of the hardware, can tell the hardware to clear everything to make it nice and clean. It suggests clear right away, so I'll hit parentheses, and then we can see here that it wants to know a color value to which the render target surface is cleared. Okay, what color should we clear it to? Inside the XNA framework, there is a class called graphics, which has a method color. We will use that one. So I'll type Microsoft XNA framework, and then inside the graphics namespace, nested namespace, you have color down there. This one is special because it contains a bunch of different colors, and that's about it. So we can pick a nice color that we want the screen to be. I'll pick black. I like black. I'll finish up the parentheses and a semicolon. Okay. That should be about it. Our engine inherits from game. We create an instance, we instantiate the graphics device manager, which takes care of the hardware for us. And we tell the graphics object that we want to associate the hardware with our game. And we add some code by overriding draw. So we add some code to draw. Specifically, we ask the class that takes care of the hardware to tell the hardware to just clear the screen to black. I am gonna hit F5. Hopefully we get a black screen this time instead. Yeah, it is black. I'll close that up. And that's it for this time.